Ever wondered how much potential is locked away within you due to low self-confidence? Now let me introduce you to our protagonist, a man whose self-confidence is as elusive as the end of a rainbow. He's a regular guy, much like you or me, just with an extra dose of self-doubt and a sprinkling of hesitation. Meet John, a man who could turn a simple task, like ordering coffee, into a grand saga of indecision. Should I get a latte or a cappuccino? What if they judge me for not knowing the difference between them? Such are the Herculean dilemmas that plague his everyday life. Picture this, John at a party, standing in a corner, sipping his drink and rehearsing his introduction in his head while the party goes on around him. Oh, and let's not forget his unique talent of turning a compliment into an elaborate conspiracy theory. She said she likes my shirt. Is it because she feels sorry for me? But don't be too quick to dismiss John. Underneath that timid exterior lies a man yearning for change, a man who dreams of standing tall, not just in his imagination, but in reality too. He dreams of a life where he doesn't second-guess every decision, where he can speak his mind without rehearsing the conversation 1,000 times in his head. He dreams of success, not just in his career, but in his personal life as well. You see, John is a lot like a diamond in the rough. He has immense potential, only it's buried under layers of self-doubt and insecurity. But here's the thing about John, he's got a will of steel. He may be unconfident, but he's not defeated. He's determined to change, to break free from the chains of his self-doubt, to unleash the confident man he knows he can be. John, as unconfident as he may be, is determined to change his life. But how, you ask? That's the journey we're about to embark on. Deciding to change is one thing, but knowing where to start is another. Our man, let's call him John, found John's self in the middle of this conundrum. John was determined to boost his confidence, but soon realized that the journey to self-improvement was littered with more than a few stumbling blocks. John started with the internet, a vast ocean of information, but quickly realized it was also a minefield of misinformation. John came across advice like, stare at yourself in the mirror and repeat, "I am confident," 50 times a day. John tried it and ended up feeling more like a parrot than a self-assured individual. Then there were the self-help books. One suggested John should roar like a lion every morning. John gave it a shot, but all John managed to do was scare his cat and earn a noise complaint from his neighbors. John even ventured into the world of motivational seminars, where John was told to walk on hot coals to conquer fear. John thought about it, considered his fondness for his feet, and politely declined the offer. John dove the deep end of meditation practices too. One guide suggested John imagine himself as a confident tree. John tried, John really did, but all John could picture was a trembling willow, not the mighty oak John was supposed to embody. It seemed like every piece of advice John found was more outrageous than the last. But amidst all the absurdities, John never lost his resolve. John had a good laugh at some of the ridiculous suggestions, but John also knew that John couldn't let these detours distract him from his quest for change. And John continued on his journey, navigating through the sea of strange and often comical self-help advice. John knew that somewhere, amidst all the noise and nonsense, there would be a nugget of wisdom that could truly help him. John just had to find it. Despite the outrageous advice out there, John remains undeterred. John knew John had to dig deeper. Sometimes the most profound discoveries are made in the least expected places. The labyrinth of life, John found himself in the most peculiar of corners, a dusty old bookstore tucked away in a forgotten alley. The kind of place where you'd expect to find a magical amulet more than a self-help book. As perused the shelves, a faded, well-thumbed book caught his eye. The title, Unlocking Your Unseen Potential, a Guide to Self-Improvement. Now John had seen his fair share of these self-proclaimed guides, most of them more fluff than substance. But there was something about this book, something that piqued his curiosity. Was it the weathered pages that hinted at wisdom? Or the mysterious author who was an acclaimed psychologist and life coach? Either way, John found himself flipping through the pages engrossed. As delved deeper into the book, he discovered that it wasn't just about motivational quotes and lofty ideals. Oh no, it was a treasure trove of proven techniques, scientific research, and practical steps for self-improvement. It was like stumbling upon an ancient map promising a treasure of confidence and success. But John, ever the skeptic, couldn't help but chuckle. Could a book, especially one found in a forgotten bookstore, really hold the key to changing his life? It sounded like the plot of a low-budget fantasy movie. John half expected a wizard to jump out from the pages promising to transform him into a confident man. Despite his skepticism, John bought the book. Maybe it was the allure of the unknown, or perhaps the desperate desire for change. But as John walked out of the bookstore, clutching the book tightly in his hand, he felt a flicker of hope. Could this be the key to unlock his potential? John was about to find out. Change doesn't happen overnight, but when it does, it's nothing short of magical. And so, our unconfident friend John embarked on his journey of self-improvement, armed with a myriad of techniques he had discovered. The transformation had begun, and it was as thrilling as it was unpredictable. Imagine John standing before a mirror, rehearsing a power pose John learned from a self-help book. Picture John puffing out his chest, raising his chin, and spreading his arms wide, only to lose balance and tumble onto the bed behind him. John laughed it off, dusted himself off, and tried again, and yet again, until one day John could hold the pose without wobbling or giggling at his reflection. Small victories, yes, but victories nonetheless. Then there were the affirmations. John would write them on sticky notes and plaster them all over his apartment. "I am confident," one would read. "I am successful," said another. John would recite them as he brushed his teeth, cooked his meals, even while he was stuck in traffic. And sure, John got some curious looks from the other drivers when John shouted, "I am a lion," at the top of his lungs, but John didn't care. John was on a mission. John tried meditation too. John would sit cross-legged on his living room floor, eyes closed, breathing in and out. It was peaceful, it was calming, it was interrupted by his cat jumping on his lap and purring loudly, but instead of getting frustrated, John would just laugh and pet his furry little Zen master. And let's not forget John's attempts at public speaking. John started by speaking to his plants, then moved on to his cat. Eventually, John graduated to a local Toastmasters club where John gave a speech about his journey. John stuttered, John stumbled, but John didn't give up. And when John finished, the applause was deafening. Every failure and success, John could feel a shift within him. John's journey was far from over, but John was learning, growing, transforming. And with each passing day, John was getting closer to the confident, successful person John aspired to be. With newfound confidence, the world starts to look a little different. Our man, once shrouded in self-doubt, now strides through life with an unshakable belief in himself. It's as if he's donned a pair of glasses with rose-tinted lenses. Everything just seems brighter, more vibrant, and full of possibility. The world hasn't changed, but John's perspective certainly has. He walks down the street, he no longer shies away from people. Instead, he meets their gaze, John's eyes sparkling with self-assuredness. People begin to notice he's not the same man he used to be. Remember the barista at his local coffee shop? The one he could barely utter a word to? Well, now they're engaged in lively banter every morning. It's as if he's a magnet. John's confidence, his energy, it's contagious. The barista isn't the only one noticing. His colleagues at work, his friends, even his grumpy neighbor, they're all drawn to this new charismatic version of him. A funny thing starts to happen. The more confident he becomes, the more the universe seems to align in John's favor. Opportunities he wouldn't have noticed before now seem to pop up everywhere. The world isn't throwing fewer curveballs, he's just better at hitting them out of the park. John's living proof of the adage, what you think, you become. No longer trapped by the confines of his self-doubt, he's blossoming into the person he's always wanted to be. John's dreams, once distant and fuzzy, are now clear and within reach. But remember, this isn't a magic trick or some overnight transformation. This is the result of consistent effort, of choosing every day to believe in himself and his capabilities. It's about embracing failure, learning from it, and using it as a stepping stone towards success. Life was changing and he was just getting started. He's seen the power of confidence and there's no turning back. From the timid man he once was, he's evolving into a beacon of self-assuredness, inspiring those around him with his journey. This is just the beginning. The rise of confidence. Success isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey. Protagonist, let's call him John, began to see the world in a new light. His newfound confidence was not just a feeling, it was a catalyst, a spark that ignited the flame of success. John started small, just like anyone else. He put his newly developed skills to work, engaging in conversations with strangers, making presentations at work, and even going out on dates. And guess what? People started noticing the change. His boss was impressed with his presentations, his dates found him charming, and strangers found him approachable. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, John's success started to grow. But here's the funny part. John was so engrossed in his journey of self-improvement that he barely noticed his own success. One day, while delivering a presentation, he was surprised to find himself being applauded. When he asked why he was being applauded, his boss replied, "John, you're not just presenting data, you're captivating us with a story." And that's when it hit him. John was no longer the shy, introverted man he once was. He was a confident, charismatic individual who could not only hold his own in a conversation, but could also command a room. He continued to thrive, using his confidence to open doors he never thought possible. He started his own business, something he had always dreamed of, and it was a hit. He was invited to speak at conferences. His business was thriving, and he was living a life he had only ever dreamed of. The real success was not in the accolades or the thriving business. It was in the journey he had undertaken, the transformation he had undergone. It was in the way he handled failures, not as setbacks, but as opportunities to learn and grow. It was in the way he faced his fears and emerged victorious. We look at John today, it's hard to believe that he was once a man crippled by his own lack of confidence. He had come a long way from the unconfident man he once was. Every journey has its lessons, and this one was no different. John, once a wallflower who couldn't even muster the courage to speak in a group setting. He was held captive by his crippling self-doubt, a prisoner in his own life. But John yearned for change, a spark that ignited a quest to transform his life. His journey was not a sprint, but a marathon. It began with a discovery, a revelation that shook the very foundation of his beliefs. John stumbled upon proven techniques that promised to transform his life. And so, he plunged headfirst into the world of self-improvement, arming himself with an arsenal of techniques. The transformation started small. Picture John standing in front of a mirror, reciting affirmations. "I am confident, I am capable." It might have seemed silly, a grown man talking to his reflection. But little did he know, these affirmations were chipping away at the wall of self-doubt that had held him back for so long. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, John started to change. He began to stand taller, speak louder. His voice, once shaky and uncertain, now carried an air of confidence. His transformation was not just apparent to him, but to everyone around him. And with his newfound confidence came success. John started to excel in his career, his relationships, his life. He became a beacon of self-assuredness, a testament to the power of self-improvement. His journey was nothing short of inspiring, a tale of resilience and determination. But let's not forget the humorous moments that peppered his journey. Like when he accidentally recited his affirmations into a hot mic during a conference call. Or when he mistook a self-help book for a cookbook and ended up making confidence casserole for dinner. And so John proves that with the right tools and determination, anyone can unlock their true potential.